£500,000, cash on the table, and a duchess promising doors to Buckingham Palace. That one blurry undercover clip in 2010 wasn't just tabloid fodder. It was Sarah Ferguson hitting financial rock bottom in front of the world. From country house sleepovers to dodging bankruptcy papers, from being abandoned by charities after an email scandal, to selling her prized Belgravia townhouse. How did the Queen's former daughter-in-law skid from royal luxury to owing millions? Get ready, because this is the wildest money ride you'll see this side of the palace gates. Sarah Ferguson never did anything quietly, did she? She married a prince, partied with celebrities, and smiled through scandals that would sink most reputations. But behind the fiery red hair and that famously big laugh lurked a brutal balance sheet. Millions in the black at her wedding, millions in the red by her 40s, and a net worth today that's probably less than the price of a modest London garage. In the next few minutes, we're going to look at Fergie's financial highs and lows, from palace privilege to failed startups, from Weight Watchers weigh-ins to eco-nappies. And we'll ask the question royal watchers still whisper: is Fergie a victim of circumstance, caught in a system she didn't fully understand? Or is she the architect of her own money mess? It's a complex story, and the answer might just be a bit of both.
When 26-year-old Sarah Margaret Ferguson said, "I will," in Westminster Abbey, she wasn't just saying yes to Prince Andrew. She was also saying yes to a life most of us can only dream of. A clothing allowance, a household staff, weekends at Windsor Castle. It was the ultimate fairy tale. Royal brides weren't salaried in the conventional sense, but life on the inside was essentially free of everyday bills. Think about it. Gowns, travel, personal chefs, even dog food. It all arrived courtesy of the crown. Friends from that era often say, Fergie genuinely believed the ride would last forever, that this was simply her new normal. But, as we all know, fairy tales rarely last, especially in the glare of the royal spotlight. This particular golden carriage ride lasted a mere 6 years. The separation in 1992 and the eventual divorce in 1996 slammed that royal checkbook shut with a resounding thud. And here's where things get really interesting, and some say a bit unfair. While Princess Diana walked away with a reported £17 million plus ongoing costs, Sarah's settlement was significantly more modest. She signed for roughly £900,000, about $1.4 million at the time, which included a fund for a home purchase, along with a slice of Andrew's naval pension. She did keep the much-coveted title Duchess of York, but she absolutely lost the royal safety net. Overnight, she had to fund her own holidays, her own mortgages, and crucially, her own rather expensive lifestyle expectations. Reporters, ever so witty, joked she'd gone from Champagne Sarah to supermarket Carver. But that joke, while catchy, completely missed the real story. This was a woman who loved expensive gestures, first-class flights for friends, private school fees for cousins, and a habit of tipping like she just won the lottery. The financial reality of her new life determined to stay financially afloat and maintain her independence, Sarah launched Heartmore LLC, a US lifestyle and wellness company. She poured practically every single pound she had into it. But the venture was plagued by spiralling overheads, saw virtually no profit, and by 2009 had created a reported £650,000 hole in her finances. Friends, seeing the writing on the wall, urged her to declare bankruptcy, but Sarah, ever defiant, refused. She told Vanity Fair that bankruptcy was the easy way out, a sentiment that reflected her deep-seated aversion to admitting defeat. Instead, she quietly sold her beloved Swiss ski chalet, a cherished family retreat, just to stay afloat and keep the wolves at bay. Then came May 2010, a moment that would compound her financial troubles and send shockwaves through the palace. A hidden camera caught Sarah accepting a briefcase stuffed with $40,000 as a down payment. The alleged promise? Access to her ex-husband, Prince Andrew,
for a hefty £500,000. The news of the world splashed headlines like Fergie's £500,000 shame across their front pages. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Within days, speaking engagements were cancelled, charity patrons distanced themselves, and the Duchess found herself persona non grata at several royal events. While the scandal didn't create her existing debts, it absolutely froze her earning power at precisely the moment she needed it most. She later admitted it was a serious lapse in judgment, blaming desperation and alcohol. Critics predictably called it greed. Supporters argued it was a cruel honey trap set by the tabloids. Either way, her market rate for after-dinner speeches, a crucial income stream, halved overnight. Her reputation, already fragile, took another significant hit. Television, always fickle, still loved a good redemption arc. And Sarah Ferguson, despite her recent missteps, was a familiar face with a story to tell. Weight Watchers, which had previously signed her as a spokeswoman in the late 90s, renewed their partnership after the sting, reportedly earning her a much-needed £1 million over 2 years. Her children's books about Budgie the helicopter continued to sell steadily, especially stateside, where royal nostalgia is always currency. She fronted documentaries, appeared in yogurt ads in Eastern Europe, and spoke at wellness conferences for 5-figure checks. Fast forward to 2022. Grandmotherhood sparks a new, somewhat unexpected business epiphany. Sarah co-founds The Greater Good, a company selling plant-based, compostable diapers pitched at eco-minded parents. It's a clear shift, reflecting a more socially conscious approach to entrepreneurship. Early reviews praise the product, and financial blogs cautiously ask if the green market can forgive her past. Around the same time, she launches Vestapol Films and a podcast with her daughter, signalling a pivot toward media production and a more stable, diversified income stream. Analysts estimate her current net worth at roughly $200,000. Comfortable for an average retiree, perhaps, but microscopic by royal family standards. No discussion of Sarah's finances would be complete without acknowledging her ex-husband, Prince Andrew. The pair still share royal lodge, the sprawling Windsor mansion Andrew can't sell, and their finances, for better or worse, remain entangled. But the financial storms never quite pass. Recently, a leaked 2011 email resurfaced in the press, sparking an outcry. The wording, deferential and ill-judged, prompted immediate backlash. Multiple charities swiftly dropped her as a patron, a devastating blow for someone who has long relied on public roles to underpin her private income. Once again, a single headline translated into lost credibility and lost earning power. At the same time, she quietly sold her £4.2 million Belgravia townhouse. Officially, it was presented as a downsizing, but insiders are convinced the sale was designed to plug the enormous financial demands of Royal Lodge: roof repairs, rewiring, and basic upkeep on a sprawling property that is more a drain than an asset. In short, Sarah has been forced to sell prime London real estate just to keep the Windsor estate functioning. Her situation today is not just about past debts, but about the continuing shadow of poor judgment and the heavy costs of the life she insists on maintaining. Here's the current snapshot, as best we can piece it together. An estimated net worth of £150,000 to £200,000. A reported annual income now in the £150,000 to £300,000 range, split between media projects, books and endorsements. 0 properties solely in her name, and ongoing monthly payments still servicing old tax arrangements. She's certainly not destitute, but it's a universe away from the woman who once famously joked she'd never seen a bill. Her daughters are grown, successful and entirely self-funding, meaning the Duchess can finally, truly budget for one. Friends say she still travels economy, clips coupons, and absolutely loves a bargain hunt. The palace gates remain open for family events, a nod to her enduring role as a mother and grandmother. But the bank of the Queen closed for business long ago. This is a woman who has learned, or maybe is learning, sometimes the hard way, to stand on her own 2 feet. What do you think? Has Fergie finally learned her lesson? Or is the next big venture just another crash waiting to happen? Tell us below. And please share this video with anyone who still thinks royal life is all tiaras and taxpayer millions.